Good evening and thank you for joining us for this special episode of Business PNG. In 2015, the Business PNG team had the privilege to travel far and wide around our beautiful country, to go where the story takes us, to report on some of the most iconic events of the year. We have compiled some of these memorable reports for you, our viewers, and tonight we will relive them. One such story is that of a family-operated coffee company in the Eastern Highlands, expanding their operations into manufacturing roasted coffee beans and ground coffee for the PNG market. Awute Coffee's success story comes against a backdrop of coffee-rich Eastern Highlands Province.
It's 1 o'clock when we visit Awute Coffee, the family-run coffee company that has a simple setup that begins on their customary land. The family is renowned in the Eastern Highlands coffee industry.
Now the slab area where you looking big trucks come stop here, me play small cherry coffee go down. Comes a team lo this box. Now you looking comes a team cherry go down the box now. Okay, now we come up in this wet factory, wet processing facilities for Awute Coffee. Now the slab and we plus up processing more cherry coffee lamb.
The wet process of Awute Coffee is simple. The steps involve removing the outer part of the wet bean and separating it from foreign solids. About 90% of water is used.
All metal, now one something, but not on side one more cherry. And stop back in the box.
James Awute shows us around the 4 pools where wet beans are stored to ferment during the wet bean process.
Bean come down, direct team come down here. We give certain days lo fermentation process. So we after 1 night and 1.5 night, we washing the rosimol grease lo bean, then or mangi or bake him lo bake.
After the beans ferment, the Awutes dry the beans into parchment that's ready to be exported or roasted into what consumers drink.
Whether I'm ready also when I'm got all boys lo also go to sun dry. Area stop over come walk all over come pick him up osem, see one hand osem, put him against him leg flow now over squeeze rausimol. Sell now. All blue name you can look him coffee cleaned, sound and new.
One of the key areas that the brothers closely watch is the drying stages of the parchment. The quality of the parchment is monitored closely to get the perfect roast. The Awutes have stopped buying parchment off farmers because of poor quality.
Sun process lo time you me pulping finish you mix him come you me sun dry also. So you me sun dry sample coffee you me dry inside lo machine lo dryer but sample you me dry lo sun. So sun is providing good quality then you me dry inside lo machine. So.
The Awutes' core business is exports. They send about 80% of their coffee to overseas countries. They are amongst the up-and-coming top producers of coffee in the Eastern Highlands.
It's on export only. So what our aim was is to at least be one of the major competitors in Papua New Guinea in exporting coffee alone overseas. Then once we've set a target. Our target is to at least export more coffee to boost the economy for Papua New Guinea.
Well, quite recently, the Awutes have begun manufacturing a product for the local market. But before the market, a simple process of roasting the beans happens in this room.
Dropping come down here, at the same time, and circulate one time, at the same time, and sucking all hot air inside the bean. I'm sucking and cooling down over there for roast bean. Roast bean finish time and for cold enough, like a nipple out in the slide.
The coffee beans are placed into this machine to roast the beans.
Just here, people making packaging now. People packing, people grinding,
There are now plans to have some more products introduced into the Awute brand name.
Wine finish. Now buying gold sealing.
We plan to develop new 2 more products for Awute Coffee. Right now, Awute Coffee, we sell only a Nokondi blender, 1 product, Nokondi blender, and we're thinking of adding 2 new more brands into our product line. So
something to do with quality. It's not something to do with only coffee, but you know, you can say that by all narapla, all farming, agriculture, or you talk cocoa.
James Awute is in charge of quality control at the Awute facilities. He says quality is more than just the coffee, it's about giving the best to customers.
Why wasting your money on something which doesn't have quality?
Controls out there, visits out there, advices out there, checks out there, up to the dry factory, to the exporters, and then down to the point of exports.
James' thoughts echoes that of the Coffee Industry Corporation. The Awute Coffee Company has been working closely with the Coffee Industry Corporation headquarters based in Goroka. Sem Menanga heads the Industry, Regulations and Compliance Department that provides inspections that certify licenses for different stages of coffee processing before export. He says that the industry growth depends on the quality of the product.
If the coffee is below the registered contracts, they have to inform the exporter consent that you need to improve it or you need to change the grade you have contracted.
While Awute is on the move, the Eastern Highlands coffee industry has received support from the Eastern Highlands provincial government.
Bring our community coffee block holders and smallholders together so that they can have a cooperative within the LLG or the district cooperative. So
Governor Julie Soso is looking to support local farmers get involved in cooperatives. She describes it as a bottom-up approach.
80% of the Papua New Guinea coffee industry is owned by the people. Awute Coffee gives a snapshot into the influence and benefits of those within the coffee industry. While the quality of export beans has been an ongoing issue, the Coffee Industry Corporation has been working closely to teach local farmers and producers on how to get the best yield. Coffee is a renewable resource. It has been in the past and will continue to be in the future a thriving local commodity in the Papua New Guinean agricultural economy.
After the break, a university project with a promising future of increasing income as well as food security on a national scale. Universities in Papua New Guinea have taken the turn in breaking from traditional projects that were done exclusively for teaching and learning purposes. Most universities now create commercial opportunity-based projects that take teaching and learning to new levels. Especially if the project is within a science department, it forces test tube students to dabble in business, whilst creating commercial opportunities for the university. Secretary for the Department of Higher Education, Professor David Kavanamur, gave Business PNG more insight on the subject.
We in the Department of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology have been working closely with the universities to change the way teaching is done in the universities, particularly through the curriculum, the academic curriculum of universities, whereby we working hard with them to shift attention away from lecturer-student focused projects to more student-oriented projects. There is a commercial wing to it that is tied to the community platform because we appreciate that the problems are out there in the community, they're out there in society, but the solutions are also out there in the community and society. And so we are encouraging through the national government of Papua New Guinea a focus on those disciplines that are priority for the country, particularly in science and technology and business and sociology as well, so that we get our students to go out into the community, work on a project, and those projects will have immense societal benefits as well as commercial benefits.
A university project with a promising future of increasing income as well as food security on a national scale is the University of Papua New Guinea's giant freshwater prawn project that educates and utilizes local aquaculture cluster farmers. As you can see, we are on the Sirinumu Dam on our way to the giant freshwater prawn project. The project was first pioneered in 2014 with the help of the Secretariat of the Pacific Community and the National Fisheries Authority. The project's ultimate goal is to commercialize the aquaculture of this prawn species, the Macrobrachium spinipes in Papua New Guinea. These giant freshwater prawns are 6 to 8 months old and are ready for sale. However, they are being kept for further research and breeding purposes and will be moved to earthen ponds later on. Pacific countries such as Fiji are more advanced in aquaculture, having years of head start and importing from Thailand and other Asian countries. PNG's prawn species, however, is native and indigenous to the country, yet we are lagging behind. The government's focus tends to lean heavily towards the non-renewable extractive industries, leaving other sectors such as agri and aquaculture lacking.
We came here for the purpose of seeing the prawns, and this is a new project that the university and the Secretariat of the Pacific Communities based in Fiji and National Fisheries Authority, collaboration from those three entities that started this project on the prawn since 2013, and this is the third year now. And we have some of the prawns that are being looked after by Jonah in his cages. Most of our people live at the village level, about 85%. And this kind of project, when you talk about fish farming or prawn farming, these are best projects for the people at the village level. The technology to look after those fish and the prawns is quite simple. Yeah. It's just that they have to learn those techniques in a given period of time, and they can look after those agriculture projects by themselves. And that can generate income and as well as for food security. Agriculture of giant freshwater prawn, if that's a species that is present in this country, is an indigenous species. We have done a trial since 2014 with the help from the Fijians or the SPC, and in fact we managed to spawn the mothers from the larvae, small baby larvae, up until the adult that you've just seen. Okay, it took about 8 months to reach that size, and that size is for commercial purposes now, if you want to sell. We have completed the cycle, and we have repeated the hatchery technology, so I can confidently say that the technology to agriculture, the giant freshwater prawn, has been transferred to University of Papua New Guinea successfully. And we've been repeating this procedure a couple of times already. The current price for the particular species is about 40 kina per kilogram, all right? 40 kina per kilogram of that species. It's a freshwater species. Of course, the marine species is even more expensive there. So if you look at the production of this project, if it is successful in the near future, 1 hectare of prawn, that hectare can produce up to 5,000 kilograms of prawn per annum. So the potential is huge.
This floating pond cost local farmer Jonah around 20,000 kina to build.
There are some potential donors that can look at this potential of this project and try to fund this, so that we can go into the pilot stage of this project. The technology has been transferred already, and now we are ready now to take it on to the pilot phase to know whether it is viable. As I see it, it is economically viable. They've done it in Fiji, and we got a lot of resources, we got a lot of water, we got a lot of rivers there. It's, all the infrastructures are there. It's just that we need capital investment to make it happen so that our potential farmers can involve in this project. So there is a potential, huge potential for this particular species there. And as I mentioned about the market already, there's a huge market there. We have done a little survey in Port Moresby, and we have seen that there's a high-end restaurants and potential, high-end end of the society. There's a market for the particular species there. So the market is not a problem. It's just that we have to produce. Another good thing about this, looking after the prawn as well as fish, is that it's not high-tech. Okay, they're basic science and that people can learn them easily. Okay, and then they can take it from there and then look after those fish and the prawns there. And of course, they can generate income and improve their lifestyles and livelihood.
Still to come, we relook at one of the audience favorites of the year, Goroka Bilum Mamas. The plight of Goroka Bilum Mamas is very real when visiting Goroka town. With their colorful designs and unique talent and full display in the heart of town, one often forgets the man-hours it takes to weave the bilums and distance they have to travel, many as far as the Southern Highlands and Chimbu, all in the goal of selling their craftsmanships at the makeshift bilum market adjacent to the Bird of Paradise Hotel and in front of Goroka's government administration building, braving the sun, rain, and the often chilly weather of cold place Goroka.
Try plus sun, rain, mi plus a talk na star. No got well of sim kaigen, mi plus no got garden. Also na mi plus painim living blom mi plus na mi plus star blom Goroka town.
When the Business PNG team showed up with our cameras and tripods, many questioned our motives and were skeptical about our purpose of filming, claiming that many camera crews and old Bigpla line come over and film what they want and disappear, making profit off of their films and TV shows, but give nothing in return, oftentimes making the Bilum Mamas feel like they are being taken advantage of. However, when we told them that we were there to tell their story free of charge, they quickly opened up, telling us that they had plenty of stories to tell about their work and what they consider the Bilum factory, Goroka.
Kind factory bilum sometimes I making kind design na kalatum plus putting good plus I making. So price plan plus sim 100 70 you miss a look size na kala now you miss a price small bilum lumipla.
Many, if not all of these women, operate informally and are not recognized by the government or big business, therefore are not protected by laws that govern their trade. On average, most women sell about 4 to 3 bilums a day, making roughly more than 400 kina on a good day. This number triples when tourists flock into the township on special occasions, such as the Goroka Show, an annual event that attracts hundreds of tourists, both locally and internationally. This demonstrates the economic viability of the skill and the bilum product.
Look blow me long. One something where all mama you walk in bilum now. Bilum emoli, all work senissim all kind style now. All work in planting now. Now all go pine all market. All like Sarim long street, all touristic come all like Sarim. But people must make him this like come a one pla something whereby all Mary can use him long Sarim lo all Arab country na all can make him some money out long this.
Though it is nearly impossible to carve a profitable business from their skills, that doesn't mean they haven't tried. One of the more successful bilum makers has commercialized her skills and has showcased her designs to overseas markets. Florence Stauka Kamel, also known as Bilum Mary, designs dresses and other forms of modern clothing, all by using the art of bilum weaving. Her work includes weaving dresses, trousers, ponchos, and accessories, such as scarves and ties, all using bilum weaving. Her more popular items are made with natural fiber. Florence's work has made it as far as the runways of London and New York, showcasing the bilum amongst more established fashion designers, a tremendous fit in itself.
From where I'm working with bilum, I'm into the fashion part of it, and also with the fashion, I've taken bilum as far as New York for the. It was out on the runway, and you know I was really excited seeing my bilum out on the runway in New York, and I actually went to under International Trade Center.
Florence claims she hasn't had much help from the government, besides a few grants here and there and sponsored trips abroad. She has become this successful through her own sheer determination and with the support of her family.
Being a single mom, going into business, and turning around and seeing my brothers and at my back is amazing.
Despite the challenges and the lack of sustainable support from the government, the Bilum Mamas persevere and the art of bilum making continues.
Seen as a skill reserved solely for women, many men have taken up the skill. Men such as Florence's brother, Moses Kamel, who has always been an avid supporter of Florence's campaign.
It so happened that I was interested in sewing. Now, I actually bought 2 shirts for 30 kina each. They were my favorite shirts. And then after some years, they tend to wear out, and I was looking for that. And then I got into, well, something at the back of my mind told me that, you know, you cannot find it here, you cannot find those shirts in Lae, Madang, Moresby. Why not do it yourself? So that was the start of everything. I started, well, sewing, and I started sewing a number of shirts. And then people got interested, and they came, and I sold them shirts. And
Moses and Florence teamed up in 2006 to design Team PNG's outfit for the opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne.
It happened that it was, I think, 2006. She was assigned to do neckties for all the athletes going down to the Commonwealth Game. So she came up with, I think, 54 ties, and she wanted me to sew those ones. So I sewed all the ties, neckties, and the athletes wore those ones when they went down to Australia for the Commonwealth Game.
Recently, through Florence's persistent campaigning, international organizations such as the International Trade Center, a subsidiary organization of the World Trade Organization, and the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development has taken notice of the art of bilum weaving, recognizing the skill as a highly tradable skill which can be used to economically empower women.
And ITC, International Trade Center, has rescued us. And we have a big job to do now. And I believe that there's something better out there. Because I've come from like 12, 13 years, I've been looking for market. I've been called a Bilum Mary. And I think, I'm believing that I've achieved most of my goal now. And mostly with having the support from ITC coming in, is a big achievement.
Though not as lucrative as other sectors in the country, bilum weaving is finally attracting international recognition and appreciation, and the market is opening up for the women, which is undoubtedly a positive step for the Bilum Mamas. Only time will tell what the future holds for these women and their trade, but they are hopeful. Innovative agro-industry, part of the LR Group, which specializes in the development, implementation, and operation of agro-industrial projects in emerging markets, identified the opportunity to develop a commercial farm to help ease PNG's reliance on high-cost food imports. What once used to be the Port Moresby showgrounds is now occupied by the 11-hectare farm in the suburb of 9 Mile. The farm was developed in partnership with the Jesus Christ Halfway House and Western Highlands Development, aiming to establish itself as a leading player in the PNG fruit and vegetable market by providing consumers with high-quality import replacement produce.
Okay, this is where we grow the tomatoes here. We have different varieties of tomatoes. We have cherry tomatoes, we have regular tomatoes. There are all types of tomatoes. As you can see here, we have a disconnected media that we plant our vegetables in. It's a grow bag. It's made up of shredded coconut husks and dried moss. And we use the fertigation system to give nutrients to the plants. We use a dripper here, as you can see. This is where the fertigation system comes through. It's the fertigation system is water mixed with fertilizer. We use the NPK fertilizer. So from the control house, we have programs that regulate how much dosage, how much water that comes into the greenhouses. So this is the dripper. From the supply, it comes through the dripper, and from the dripper, it goes straight to the roots of the plants. So from there, they can get all the nutrition they need to grow and to produce fruits here.
The first international exports of these lettuce and tomatoes were shipped about a week ago on the 12th of May from this farm. Now, the buyer in Fiji was McDonald's Fiji, who are known for buying fresh fruit products. While the 28 million kina operation was officially opened in January 2014, seed planting started in late 2013, and the farm is now producing large quantities of affordable fruit and vegetables, including tomatoes, cucumbers, capsicums, and lettuce.
Here, greenhouse one, we have watermelon, we have melon, and we have zucchini. These are new types of varieties we're trialing out. We have the watermelon puma, and we have the melon alerio. So as you can see, in this greenhouse we have bee boxes. These bees help in pollination, so to bear fruit. As you can see, they're planted a month earlier, so now it's a month now, and they're already starting to bear fruit. Production is ongoing. We have zucchini on the far end, and watermelon in the middle.
So the melons and zucchinis found in this greenhouse, as well as fruits and vegetables found in the other greenhouses on this farm, will supply chain stores such as Stop and Shop and Waterfront in downtown Port Moresby. Now this is all for the purpose of stopping imports from other countries and supporting local farming and local growing. The farm uses a soilless direct irrigation system where the fruit and vegetables are grown in materials which feed the root system with the necessary nutrients in a controlled environment.
This is the nursery. Inside the nursery we use the fertigation system as well. It's the water mixed with fertilizer. The boom irrigation system, it has nozzles on it. It has a drizzling kind of flow, so it's much more softer on the seedlings. So all the plants that we grow in the farm, all of it are nurseried in here. So as you can see, these lettuce are ready for transplant now. They have fully developed roots. They can be transplanted early as next week.
The produce has been sold in supermarkets throughout Port Moresby, providing consumers with international standard fruit and vegetables, which are fresher than what is generally imported from countries like Australia. So I'm actually here in the 9 Mile Farms freezer. Now after the greenhouses, when it's been harvested, this is where it ends up, packed and weighed before it's shipped off to the shops. Now over here I have Benjamin. He's the manager of this packing team. Benjamin? Can you explain the process?
Our process here, we are doing it right now. From the farm, we get it from the harvest to here. We are in tomato. Normally we do tray packing especially for big clients like Waterfront. They get it with tray packing, and we pack them in loose in a carton, 10 kg, and then we supply it to the client. Like currently, like right now, we don't have much tomato because from the harvest came here, all of them it's going out to our sales. So what comes from the farm, we pack it here, immediately it's go out.
So right now you can see the tomato is being packed up and ready to be shipped off to driven off to the shops. The business employs around 140 workers, mostly from the 9 Mile and Bomana areas, making it one of the largest employers in this area of Port Moresby.
And that's all we have for you tonight. Next week, Business PNG will be back for a brand new season and a brand new year. Until then, for more business news, or if you would simply like to view this episode again, visit MTV online at www.mtv.com.pg. Or to join the conversation, like our page on Facebook for daily business news, or follow us on Twitter at Business PNG. Until next Tuesday, enjoy the rest of your week. I'm Michelle Bird, and this was Business PNG.